Yo, what's goody, family? Welcome to the Devil's Advocate with Ace Anderson and Akron Watson, where we're making the best case for the guiltiest pleasure. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what she said.
Motherfuckers. Wow.
She wanted to be abstinent.
Damn.
We already together.
I think that's a
Man,
sign,
ask
nigga.
anybody. There are no benefits to abstinence.
Yo, what's going on, family? It's your boy Ace Boogie, Akron Watson, the SiHK Brothers. We are here for another week of making the best case for the guiltiest pleasures. That's right, you're on the Devil's Advocate, and we're here for week 7, man. Week 7. We've been at this. 7. How you feeling, Ak?
Right now in this very moment.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm like nervous a little bit.
Why are you nervous?
It's our first time filming in my crib. It's my crib, y'all. And what else? What other reasons am I nervous? Just like in general, like a general sort of like anxiety about what could be said, what's about to be said. I'm completely unprepared for today's show. But we've been getting a lot of work done. And so, I guess it's just like so much is happening right now. You ask somebody like how they doing, and then they tell you the whole truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what's really bothering me is I don't know. I'm just nervous, man.
Yeah,
People are listening. People are watching. I want to be good, so send me y'all's.
So it's the day after Valentine's Day. How was that? How was Valentine's Day for you?
Like, I didn't do nothing, man. I literally didn't do nothing. I was with you and your wife, and I hope they didn't hear that. I hope they could.
Oh, it's low. It's low.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I was with y'all, man. Y'all were here. You tell them how my Valentine's Day was.
I mean, I don't know how it was personally for you. For me, it was just chill. It was cool to we finally got to be out here spending time together, actually working. It's been 10 years since we've gotten to really do this. And even I feel like when you came to Dallas a couple weeks ago, last week, or whenever that was, when you were in Dallas, I didn't feel like, because you were still bouncing back and forth, but in LA we're here, so we have been able to work together as efficiently as we did when we met 10 years ago, and you would just come through and we would work. But now I'm curious, what that experience has been like for you in terms of, because there's a difference now. 10 years has gone by in terms of how we create. Now I'm married. I have my situation is different.
Situation. Oh, is that a question?
Yeah, that's a question.
That's the question. It's so many things, bro, because it's the pandemic right now too that you got to look at. But like, I think that part of my draw, right, like the thing that gets people to watch me or whatever, is that I am a big kid. You know what I mean? Like I have this sort of manly, boyish quality. And so that's true in my personal life too. And I feel like, the pandemic has taught me some stuff about myself. And I've been alone so much that it's been really nice to be around y'all, but it's also been really annoying. And at the same time, it's also been really eye-opening as to how lazy I've been. Because I think I've been waiting on the world to change. And so then to see y'all motivating each other and that has really been more of my experience than anything else. It's just seeing myself not being reflected back by y'all, but seeing something brighter and bigger and like nicer and like, oh, that looks really nice. They like wake up early and they work out and they do all these different things and I told you that it's like y'all are discovering a post-pandemic way of life, or y'all have discovered this post-pandemic way of life. And meanwhile, it's still March for me.
Yeah.
You know, or at least it was until this weekend, I really feel like. And so, like, getting back into the groove is a big adjustment. It feels like I've been in solitary confinement, man. It feels like I've been in solitary confinement for real. And just like
artistically, or
I don't think artistically.
Socially?
I think socially. Literally just like solitary, alone in my apartment, nobody around. And, you know, I had the roommate, she left or whatever. And that wasn't even a good idea. But, you know, even that decision was sort of veered and based on
like having somebody around.
Yeah. And so I've thought many times while y'all was here, like, how can I keep them in? Yeah. Like, maybe I could, maybe what if she gets work here and then makes enough money and I could convince them to sleep in the other room? You know, it's so it's been that on top of, because creatively, like, I can create all day long. You know, I write songs all the time, man, you know, and that's why I'm excited to do music, not because I want to be famous, but just because, like, I want y'all to hear these songs because I'll be writing them. And Ace knows, you know, and that, like, music is a passion of mine, but it's not something I wanted to ever pursue professionally. So creating with you has always been about art, not about money. But what we doing now is different. Because, you know, we can have 6 conversations going at the same time because there's so much stuff that we're doing. You know, so we are having those business conversations too. So that's also like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. That's a loaded question for you to ask right off the top, because, you know, it's a lot, man. And I have friends who've been in the music industry for a while, bro. In various capacities, and I always applaud them and always feel like I'm always like this. You know, we're working with a group now. I'm working with a group where I'm trying to bring Ace in on something called Music Camp by Left Lane Music Group. Y'all can go look them up, and the Source, who does stuff for like Megan Thee Stallion, Engineered by the Source. Y'all look up Engineered by the Source. And I probably brought this up before on the show, but like, that feels like my contribution to something that you already brought to me in January. You know, Ace brought me an idea and said, here's how we can work this thing that we've been talking about doing for years. And he had already started working on it, because you already had like dates. He already had stuff, and he was like, it was really like, hey, I want to include you in what I already got planned for my life. Which, you know, again, is something that I feel like the pandemic did it, because I was working, man, and like, even when I wasn't working, I was thinking about my next gig out. Wasn't thinking about doing nothing with SiHK Brothers no more, man. It was like, to me, I felt like a SiHK Brother ambassador. That was never gonna go home. That was never gonna be home. Never gonna be doing stuff, but always be like, yeah, I rep, you know, and just have like the logo or something. But I wanted to. So it's been interesting, man. This even just these few days have been interesting. This is really important to me, and this is not just having fun, but it's sort of about us having fun. So it's like we making a business out of us having fun. So
yeah, man, I really wanted that after seeing Gabrielle have that and have so much fun with it. And so much fun that she's annoying me with all the fun she's having. Like, damn, man. Like, I want to have fun. I want to do some shit. Like, I want to create my own shit and bask in the glory of having created my own shit. And so, why not include the dude that I started it with? You know what I'm saying? Like, I started all of the ideas. Like, you were the first person I performed with. I don't know if you know that. Like, you're the first person I performed with musically.
I knew at the time, but it didn't seem that way.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a thing.
Right.
Because it never felt, you know what I mean? I never felt like, oh, this is his first time. But I think that was because we had done a show together.
Right, yeah. Because, I was capable of performing.
It made sense.
Right.
It was like if he could act.
Yeah.
And we had just done a really unorthodox show.
Right, yeah. True. And we had already successfully made several songs together. So by the time we were performing, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna come in and do his part.
But that's the thing too, with music, it's like confidence goes a long way. Because music now is just like you say something confidently and that's what it is. And it could just be nothing. And that's fine. Because he said it in a confident way.
Right.
So, yeah. But, I mean, you weren't saying nothing, You were saying something. Right. I didn't know what you were saying sometimes. You were saying it.
Yo, so you've said this a couple times, where you'll be like, I didn't know what you were saying, but I didn't want to say anything about it.
Because.
So I was like.
Because we live in, don't you? Well, you don't. Because the artists that you listen to, name your top 3 artists?
J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Apathy.
I can't speak on Apathy. Kendrick Lamar actually says a lot of stuff that I don't understand. J. Cole usually does not. So it's very Kendrick Lamar sometimes the way you spit. It's like, those moments where it's like, what he saying? You got to go back and get it. So yeah, and then you don't be using words that people use all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not using, yeah. So I like it enough to want to know. Cause, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny. Cause I just have always been infatuated and captivated by people with huge vocabularies. And it started from watching my preachers growing up. When preachers could memorize the scriptures without having to go and look at the Bible and tell us, let's turn to the Bible. I'm like, how the fuck are they memorizing all of them scriptures, And then when I started watching TV and I saw I learned Sherlock. I love characters like Sherlock and House and Raymond Reddington from Blacklist. I just love these super intellectual, poetic characters that can just fucking tear you down with a sentence. Damn, you just constructed the perfect sentence. How did somebody come up with those words together, And I can do it if I sit down and write for hours and make my poetry, but to just speak like that. So when I hear new vocabulary, I latch on to it because I love it. I love when somebody uses a word that was the perfect word. Because we live in a society where people are okay with, hey, pass me the thing. And we just know what you're talking about. So we don't question you or force you to really get the word right.
All my white friends do. All my white friends, they do. And they do it so casually that, I always, I just feel like it's not that black people try less. I just think maybe sometimes white folks are always trying too hard. They're always trying too hard, man. It's like, You point at something and be like, pass me that, and they be like, screwdriver? You know what I mean? Yeah, motherfucker, the screwdriver. But, it's not just white people, but, because, I have some exes. It's always smart people. It's always really smart people that like for everything to be meticulously said, and accurately put. You know, and I'm trying to be efficient and say, give me the thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's growing pains. It's like learning, you know, we got to learn how to, I got to learn what you mean.
Right.
So then we can be efficient. So so both people are right. It's like, you're saying if you just knew what I meant, use context clues. Use context clues, you would know what I meant, and then we wouldn't have this problem. And then they're saying, well, if you would be more specific and clearer, then then I would understand.
And we all do it, right? Like, as much of a wordsmith as you are, you know what I'm saying? If you get in a text, you're going to figure out how to say it short, concise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to be concise.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You
Right.
know what I mean? But you don't want to bring that into conversation with certain people for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I see what you mean too, is because it's like in hip hop, the use of words is almost like it's telling you it's going to either attract people or deflect people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like for some people, they're super like wordsmith artists that like people don't want to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
They want to hear Young Thug. You know what I'm saying? I very often I want to hear Young Thug. And my question to you is, do you think that I feel the way that I feel now? Because I'll tell you right now, if I had my choice between listening to Jay-Z and listening to Young Thug, I'm going with the Young Thug. Mm-hmm. Not because I don't want to hear no lyrics, but just because I want to jam and not think.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jam and not think. Somebody make a comment?
Words matter. Also, say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. I know you talking about me because I've been singing, man. So like,
but what were you saying? You said your question was
my question to you was about like, because you were talking about wordsmiths and like you know being fascinated by words.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what's wrong with me? You know, why do I like Young Thug more than Jay? Because I used to love Jay.
Nah, because listen, I went through a whole phase, and Vin can tell you. I grew up. One of my best friends, Vin, grew up with me since I was 10 years old, right? So I've known Vin forever, and there was a time where Vin believed that I was so straight edge, and I was so straight edge in high school. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't have sex. I was so straight edge that I was never going to ever drink. I was never ever going to smoke. Like that's what Vin believed. So at that time,
me too, Vin. I swear I did. I believed that for like years. Anyway,
but I, around that time is when I started learning about the Illuminati and all the, the shit, the accusations about Beyonce and Jay-Z started coming out, and I was like, this is why the government's out to get us, and don't listen to mainstream music and one of my other friends, Deontay, had given me an iPod full of underground hip hop. And that's literally all I listened to. That's why I found out about Apathy, because Apathy is underground. So he became one of my favorite artists. And then I was listening to Drake at this time too, because Drake hadn't popped off yet. And then Drake started making mainstream music, and I was like, oh, fuck Drake, and I don't want to listen to Drake, and don't listen to mainstream artists. They all part of the Illuminati. And, you know what I'm saying? Like that was my whole mindset, And I was practicing, I was practicing abstinence from everything in my life, and just anything that I thought was illegal or wrong, or I didn't want to go to jail for any reason. I didn't want to have any. I think I would do well in jail at all. No So yeah, man. I listened to I basically just listened to underground music, and that was the sound that I wanted to listen to. But then once I started having sex, I started wanting to go to the places where women would be, which was at the clubs. And in the clubs, you're hearing different types of music, right? And so I started to understand the rhythms. Like, it doesn't matter what the fuck they're saying in the club. Like, I'm fucking dancing and I just want to be on the vibe that everybody else is at. And if everybody else is at the vibe of Young Thug, then that's the vibe I'm going to be on.
Damn. So my problem, dun 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 dun, big effing secret is women. I knew it. It's always
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the sound, so you know what time it is. It's time for the flavor of the week, baby.
Yo, it's the flavor of the week. It's the flavor of the week. Man, that girl is bad. Flavor of the week, baby.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Akron and I, we love the ladies, man. It's the problem. It's the number one issue on this show is the ladies. That's the issue. So this segment of the show is where Akron and I just take out our Instagrams and show you all the women that we've been ogling over the last forever. How long? However
special for y'all.
And so
I sent it to your man. Now, if you don't think I should do it, I got a second.
You got that.
I got a second option.
We already pulling it up.
Give me a second. Wait, is it on yet? Don't, yo. It's a special one this week. You pull up?
Oh, no. You got it? Okay,
wait, did you pull it up?
It's coming up. Hold on.
Then you tell me yes or no if I should. Because I got another.
Oh, no, we should definitely.
Bet.
Yes, we are here. It is just another thing. It's the third week of Black Future Month. The topic for today is investing in our Black futures. And so we talking about putting into our futures. I feel like you and I, in terms of investing in our futures, has been creating this album, right? Like,
not just that, man. Not just that. I mean, it's just creating a legacy of music, honestly, bro. I'm like, the things we've been talking about, putting Earth, I mean, I don't even know if you realizing it, but like putting Earth, Wind, and Fire vibes into our album. Putting funk vibes
Prince
into our album. Prince vibes into our album.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think when you drop orangutan and people are like, oh yeah, that's what they gonna be expecting. But that's good though. I guess that's good. But yeah, man, I'm pumped and I'm nervous about this.
So part of our Black futures is a very special person.
You getting choked up? You can't even
choked
up.
Know,
it hurts me too.
Very, very special person in our lives. Very special woman. This is about flavors of the week. And so for Akron's flavor for this week, I'm not even going to take credit for it.
I'm just laughing. She know why I'm laughing.
Yes, it's Miss Kanisha Thompson.
She bad.
Damn, come on.
Bad,
oh, wait. Why is it? Oh, there it goes. Can I play this?
And she talented.
You ever been to a party where there was one fool in the middle of the room?
I've seen this video.
No. She was in Tasmanian Devil. Go check out this film, y'all. Available on digital and on demand February 9th.
Is it out now?
Yeah, it's out right now.
It's out right now?
Yeah, go
watch it. Where can you go see it?
You can go watch it on iTunes, on Apple, on Amazon, on Xbox, on Vudu, on PlayStation.
So, that being said, I met Kanisha. I
don't know. I know. There we go. 1,
no,
2, 3.
Show that.
She put it on online, so she got to be
ready.
No,
wait, is that her head on the front cover? No, that's not her.
But she's a phenomenal actress. Both Akron and I have done work with her. But what's your Kanisha story?
That we made for Kanisha?
Got my
Because I think
walking shoes on.
at least once a day since I just have to figure out how I can work with her. But anyways, what the log line that we came up with was she plays the shit out of every black woman.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
said?
she's fucking phenomenal. So you can see in this video right here, she's doing voiceover. And one time she called me to talk about her experiences using Clubhouse. And in that conversation, she must have done like 17 different voices. But here's the thing about the 17 different voices. They were all variations of black women. Like, I didn't even know that there was 17 different flavors that one person could do. Like, she was in it.
She's also been like at least 3 variations of people since I met her. She was a stage manager when we met, and she was talking about acting, and she made it seem like it was something that she wanted to do, not something that she was this good at. And then she started. She like two years later, she was like on the scene, but like green, and she was that person who was like, "So this thing happened, and you think I could do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, you could."
She wants him to eat something good.
Oh, I'm gonna give it. And now she's this person who's like, yeah, so I got another thing. right. She works so much. I think she's probably the most hardest working person I know since the pandemic, at least. I mean, I stopped keeping track of it because I could easily see her on TV and be like, oh yeah, that's the homie. You know, she being some
feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. Hey, feeling good.
Last thing I'm gonna say about Kanisha is that what I was trying to say was that I think we bring her up all the time because we both want to work with her in some type of way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love working with her. I've gotten to work with her, just in several different commercials. She's always in some project. Like, I'll get cast and then I'll show up and be like, "Oh, Kanisha's in this. Hey, what's up?" And then we'll end up talking, and it'll be us passing through, or like a shoot we won't even have together. We're not even shooting together, but it just so happens that we're getting fitted at the same time. So we always end up passing in work.
She's somebody that I wish was like in New York working so that I could have like a person. You know what I mean? Like, she's also a dope person to like talk to. I talked to Kanisha one time for like 45 minutes in a drive from Dallas to Oklahoma about acting, period.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those like super fascinating conversations. But this was before she had even started acting, so it was almost like she was asking me questions and then making confirmations about her own life, because she literally went out and did all the stuff that we talked about.
Yeah. Now sometimes it be that way though. Like, you'll give somebody some advice that's like, that's actually what I needed to hear. I just needed someone to ask me.
That's all my conversations. With Kanisha. That's all. It's like she'll ask me something and I'll be like, "Yep, I should be doing that. You're right. I should be doing that." She'll be like, "Can you think da-da-da-da-da-da?" Yes, I should be doing that.
Yeah. All right. So my flavor is a little less personal, a lot less personal, actually. A little bit more of the.
Don't kill me, Kanisha.
Of the. I just be watching you on Instagram vibes. You know what I mean? I watch you. Yeah, she's just bad, man. She is gorgeous. I met her on TikTok. I didn't ever meet her. I've actually never met her. But
did y'all have words on TikTok?
Nah, we never shared any words. But I duetted her one time. on TikTok.
Yo, a duet with somebody does not constitute knowing them. What? I'm mad.
I met her one time, son. I met a lot of people on TikTok doing duets with them. And they never reposted. So
They don't repost your duets?
Nah.
I keep them for
Bullshit.
Oof.
This is Matea Sweeting, yo. Oh my goodness. Good golly ollie gumdrop. Yeah. And even just and smile, like to smile is what kills me, man. Like, why is she smiling like that? Why is her smile so perfect?
Woman. Please turn the volume down.
I know.
I can't be admiring this woman publicly like this. Why don't I feel comfortable admiring this? Why can't I talk? I just want to feel comfortable being like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not.
So what do you think it is about it that makes you
I feel guilty because I got into a conversation once with, I'm going to say it, Camille A. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Got into a conversation once with Camille A. Brown, wonderful dancer, choreographer, extraordinaire.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Extraordinaire. Got nominated for Tonys on Tonys. And she talked to me about objectifying women because I would say things about her body or somebody else's body, and she'd be like, don't objectify me. Don't objectify me. She burned that word in my brain. Objectifying women. And now I'm like, I like this woman physically, but I'm afraid to say it. Afraid to show it. Don't show us no news, bro.
I'm trying to get back.
Not really.
Get back.
We not ready. Y'all, we about to drop an album.
Yeah, it's like really finna go down. Really finna go down in this
like
thing.
A whole album. We got like 26 songs.
26 songs, bro. Like really, when we got to 20 though, I was like, okay, surely we're done. Like surely we're done. But we keep going through the library, like, oh no, we gotta add this shit.
Nah, because y'all making up songs at home. She making up songs.
Yeah. Every day, she making up 3 songs a day.
We gonna slide in a vegan song on y'all. It's gonna sound like a gospel song. Y'all ain't ready for that.
Yeah, we already got vegan songs in that hole, y'all.
Is vegan songs on the album?
No, not specifically vegan songs, but there's vegan rhetoric. Okay,
we got vegan
talk of drinking celery and such, and being healthy, living a healthy life.
That is on our album. That is on. I never thought that was on my album.
What did you think was gonna be on your first album? Like, what did you imagine?
You
your
remember
first
me
album?
and me, bro. I was different. I was different. And shouts out to David Jeremiah because I always think about him during that time period when we met because I was bad, you know, a bad boy trying to be bad. I was trying to be bad. Actually, I was trying not to be bad anymore because my attempts at being bad had landed me like in jail and stuff. By the time I met you, I was, man. And David was going down the same path. And I remember thinking, damn, Akron, you're not as bad as he is. And that made me want to be his friend more. And like, I don't know why I think about David so much. I think just because I'm like, man, we took 2 separate paths and we can still get back on the same path right now. Like, I mean, David could audition for something. I mean, somebody could see he could. We've been thinking that, right? The whole city's been thinking about David. And I just remember thinking, like, I want that to be me, but I also want to be as bad. So I used to want to just like be bad, man. I used to want to like just sell drugs and just like have that in my pocket and like have that lifestyle, like sort of like almost be a secret. I still wanted to act. I used to respect people like It's the guy from Vegas, Frank Sinatra. Because Frank Sinatra was known to like have mobsters on his team, be connected, but then also he was an actor and a singer and an entertainer. And I was like, that's cool. That's what I want to be. I want to be like Master P and like I don't know Will Smith. You know, I wanted both. And Texas forced me not to do that. That's when you met me. It was like Texas was like, so. For me,
in what way did it force you not to?
The system doesn't always fail you, and so you know it didn't fail me, man. I got locked up enough times from various little things I was doing where it was like, change now or you're gonna get some real time, and this is exactly how much time you're gonna get. Like I already knew, like I was on probation and then I violated it. After I had already been on probation twice. So this was it. And it was over something so stupid. You know, so it was like, man, if I keep working with Ace, if I keep doing these shows, if I keep trying to be creative and artistic, then I'll escape this future that I have, I had set it up. I had it all set up where I was finna go to jail or I was finna go to Broadway.
Wow.
That's
it. Wow.
That was it, bro. Yeah. So it was like, 2000 and I feel like 9 or 10 or something. Yeah. It's crazy for me. And so, I thought that I was going to be making music from a trap. I thought that I was going to be like, oh, you know, my life didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but, you know, I'm out here getting this money, doing my thing, whatever. And like, yeah, man, I had let my parents go.
Wow.
And they were like good parents. So I really had to push to let them go. I had to run. I had to run to but I was, you know, I wanted to be bad. Wanted to be bad. And that's why I sort of have like a love-hate relationship with hip-hop music, you know, because it's like I love music and I love art, but I don't like the thought of influencing, because that's what it was for me, man. It was the music. It was the music. I love Wayne. 50 was my 50 still is. I mean, people know, like, I'm 50 is the coolest, one of the coolest human beings on the planet to me. But you know, so I thought I was gonna be like, I thought I was just gonna keep leading that life. Leading that life and being like double minded. And my music was gonna be about strip clubs and
that life.
That life.
Gonna be about that life.
Yeah, that life.
Shit, that's wild, man.
Huh.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like, and I love that. I love that because of how opposite it is from me. You know, like, nigga, you talk about you thought you was gonna go to jail. I was doing everything I could to avoid even getting a detention, bro. Like, you know, I wasn't the type of person to ever want to be in trouble. It's like, for me, at the end of the day, the one thing that I had at least was that I was showing up at school, like, because I didn't have good grades in school. So, but I was always, like, my teachers knew I was smart. So they just didn't understand why I wasn't really focused. But I knew that I wasn't going to get on honor roll. So the only thing that I could do to really get any sort of certificates at the end of the year was have perfect attendance. So that was my way of like, and you got to be good to have perfect attendance. If you get a detention, if you get anything, like, you won't have perfect attendance, and that won't be on your report card. Because everybody's celebrating their report card. I went to a predominantly white elementary school, so like everybody's celebrating their report card. I got an A+. I'm on the honor roll, and I'm gonna, you know, like, I'm in the honors. I'm going in the honors program. I'm in the gifted program, and I'm like, motherfucker. So like, y'all bitches, like, fuck y'all, you know. And so my thing was having perfect attendance. That was the one thing that I could do to show that I wasn't worthless, you know?
But you were passing though. You were passing?
Yeah, I was passing. I was like CB, you know.
So you was a CB student.
Yeah, CB student all the way through college. All the way through college, CB student, even in my acting classes. And that's where it was really most apparent, was like, because I wasn't doing any of the written assignments. I was excelling at all the execution because I knew it. Like, if I learned math, like, you just need to tell me how to do this problem and I can learn the problem. I know how to do it. But don't make me have to rigorously go back and practice doing all of this shit. And I got to go and read this whole book. And I got other stuff I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be an actor. I'm going to focus on, like, building. I'm trying to learn how to, you know, make beats on GarageBand. Like, I'm trying to do all this other shit. You know, I don't need to do the written assignments. And when I found out that I could just pass, literally just by performing, then that's how I rode through college, just by performing, acting. And so that kept me afloat. My ability, my talent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if it wasn't for my ability to act and the fact that I knew I was good at acting, then I would have relied on my grades, or I would have used my grades as a rubric for my worth, my value. You know, because I didn't really have anything else. I wasn't in the streets. I didn't have any cool stories. I didn't have, you know, it's like, for me, my life was just like my talent.
Yeah, the funny thing, man, is that, like, I don't know what is different about my neighborhood, but it seemed as if being square, which is what we would have called you. But nah, you know, like, being square was like not cool enough. Being smart was not cool enough. And I don't remember at what point it became cool again. I feel like it took a while though. I just felt like all the popular guys, and so I was a straight A student. I was a straight A student, and school was super easy. But I stopped feeling it was cool around like 9th grade. And so my parents got a real awakening in high school where it was just like, man, what is happening to our son? And because I was a straight A student up until that point, and it was literally just that I wanted to be cool. They weren't allowing me to know certain things. You know, my parents were about that Christian life hard. About my mom is on it now still. Church every Sunday. She at church right now, homie. I think for real, because they got Monday night service. And, you know, that was a conversation I had to have with my mom. Like, Mom, I got a show on Monday nights. You know, Mom, I'm in my 30s. You ain't talking to my mom. Want to call me? Your show on Monday nights? Yeah. You know, Pastor, and I go, Pastor. Somebody that knows I was 8 years old. And so yeah, like I wanted to be bad, and I wanted to shed whatever was like nerd or like any of that stuff. And so, like, my teachers low-key hated me because I would get hundreds, I would get A's on the test and zeros on the homework. I knew the material and I could regurgitate it well, but I wasn't finna go home and work on nothing. So I would get a C because I didn't do the homework, but I aced all the tests. So 100 and a zero. Hundreds and zeros. That's what I remember. Hundreds and zeros. And then the one time I failed, I felt like I was legitimized as a thug.
That's wild, man. Yeah, I think, honestly, I said this a little bit earlier today, but, like, art school is what saved me, bro. Like, truly going to an art school. Just that simple thing alone, because when you're at a normal school, what you don't realize is that none of these kids have any idea what their future is holding, right? They have no clue. They're not thinking about their future. They're thinking about school. But in an art school, everyone has a major. And what a major does is gives you purpose.
Yes.
It gives you like, oh, I am a theater major. This is what I'm working towards. Something. I'm building something specific, and I get these classes because I'm building this specific thing. When you're in a regular school, you're just like, I'm learning science because everybody has to learn science. I'm learning math because everybody has to learn math. And you don't have to get specific until your third year of college. You don't have to get specific. Because you can still be undecided for your first 2 years of college. You don't have to decide what major you want.
I think they think that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that they think that like, oh, let's let them
Let them decide. Nah, yo.
It's too
Nah, yo. I really feel like people should get aptitude tests and personality tests when they're young, not to make it so that they can only do this thing. It's so that they can get good at doing something. Like, okay, these skills they have, so now they can get good at doing that one thing. And then once you master something, then you could do anything. And that's what you see from all of these billionaires. Like, the billionaires, they start their company and they don't just do that for the rest of their life. They can now do other things. But because they learned how to do that one thing well, they can do other things successfully. So it's like you build, if you can learn how to beat a game, then you're that much better at beating games, because you know how to beat it.
It's that thing where like they don't teach us the fundamentals of life. They teach us.
Well, they think that they are. They think that the math, science, reading, writing, those are the fundamentals, and I think that it's about the fundamental purposes of life is what's missing.
It's you can teach a kid about farming, or you can teach them why we have to farm. It's the same way that you can teach us about NASA, and that can be inspiring. But if you teach us
why
NASA is important,
why
what does it mean? Like, and to go even further, if you're going to make it illegal to put a kid 18 years old in prison, then you need to teach them the laws. You need to teach them what laws they can or cannot break once they turn 18. Because when we graduate high school, we're adults.
Yeah, you're adults, and you don't realize that you're an adult, and then but you're still acting like a kid.
All I knew was that now I was considered an adult, and I did not know that a crime that may have been committed at this age meant something different than at this age. And I didn't even know what some crimes were.
You didn't know you were committing crimes.
I didn't, you hit somebody, just think about this. You hit somebody in high school, they might send you to juvie if it's terrible. More than likely, they're just going to suspend you. You hit somebody outside of high school, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
And you need to know that.
Right.
And you need to know that.
Facts,
and you're not going to find out until you hit somebody as an adult. And it could be for anything. It could literally be for anything. I remember learning just that, like, because I called the police on a girl in front of your house. You remember that?
Yeah.
We were sitting in a car and the girl hit me with a newspaper. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, I can't hit her back. I'm just going to get out the car and run? So I sat in the car for a little bit and she like hit me and I was like sitting there and, you and I were living together at the time. And so I didn't want to scream. So I just called her. I was like, hey, this girl is over here hitting me. Police came, picked her up, took her to jail for hitting me with a newspaper. And then I realized that was a crime. And that getting hit with a newspaper, I could easily just be like, and I'm not saying, hey, don't call the police on the next person that hits you with a newspaper, but like kind of know I feel like we should know the laws a little bit better, since we should know credit. Teach us the real fundamentals, because those are some of the fundamentals that who's teaching the credit class?
Right.
And then you can have kids maybe graduating high school being like, I want to be this.
Yo, that would be a really cool way. Like if you give kids credit cards and like their lunch is worked off of certain credit cards, they have to then do, I don't know, like their assignments are assigned to like their use of their credit card. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
something like that.
Cool.
Something innovative in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, start teaching them about putting them in jail and school.
Yeah, like at
No,
work,
no.
you gotta work, like, but you not in jail in a metaphorical sense, like it's
It's just laws I think need to be taught. I'm not
Yeah,
sure that
facts.
I'm not sure that our system is actually equipped to handle 18-year-olds. That's one of the problems with our system.
I think it starts from education, man. What I've realized, and Gabrielle's been watching this interview series called "The Soft White Underbelly" on YouTube, and that has been really eye opening for me. But what I've been realizing is that it's what you learn as a kid. That's what ends up, like, basically with Soft White Underbelly. It's this guy interviewing dysfunctional people from Skid Row, right? And it's all types of people. You got pimps, you got hookers, you have crack addicts, you have heroin addicts, you have couples, and you have everything. Anybody you can find on Skid Row, and watching these interviews, I'm like, and hearing these people tell their stories, they always talk about their childhood and raised up and how they were raised and how their parents affected them and how they were treated at school and that is really where it all starts. That's literally where it all starts. So but then we want to riot and get upset. We get upset about the adults, when I think that the main issue is education. That's the main thing that we got to focus on, figuring out how we revolutionize the education system in such a way that it helps, because nobody wants anybody else to raise their kids other than them. But sometimes we actually really need to help raise these kids, because if we just let you raise that kid by yourself, you might turn into Hitler, like, or you might turn into one of the Columbine killers. So it's such a hard game to play, because you don't want to take away people's liberties, saying like, we gotta raise your kids, but the education system has to be set up in such a way that the raising of children is properly facilitated and really carefully managed.
Well, we
Because
just had a president that put somebody over over like the education system so we're coming off of that. But I feel like now, if we don't revolutionize schooling the same way we're trying to revolutionize policing, then we will have a big problem. A big problem, because I agree with you so much that, like, I've wanted to be a superintendent just to understand why arts were being taken out of schools. I wanted to be a principal just so I could understand. There's so much I don't understand about school now, bro. It's like, I didn't understand uniforms when everybody started having. I didn't understand clear backpacks, which I understand it from outside. I just don't understand the psychology of school anymore. When people talk about how this new math is being taught and how that's so different from the other math, and there's a new math out now. You know what I'm saying? Like
what?
And how history is being taken out of history books. That vibe and what that even is about. Just the psychology of it. Why certain money for certain schools is allotted, and then for other schools they don't get money. That school has to close, and then they push all those kids into a new school, and those kids suffer. And why do some neighborhoods not have good schools? Why are good teachers not sent to some neighborhoods? Why are like, it's kids. It's kids, and if nothing else, you know what I mean. So yeah, I agree that we really need to focus on the psychology behind the whole educational system. Why are we doing certain things? I really think that America rests in tradition a lot. And we forget that some things are even going, like policing. We forget that it's going just like,
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Right.
we got this thing and it works. Let's just keep adding on top of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the psychology of it, I think, is what I want to. I think we need to take a deeper look at how we're teaching, what we're teaching, and why we're teaching it. Because I do think we should add. And Nate Parker, the actor, actually has a program for teaching kids. It's like a after school program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you know.
Yeah, I've always thought, like, you know, if I make an artist compound, and I have a bunch of, you know, if I have a bunch of artists, then the artists are eventually going to want to start families.
Yeah.
And so then, as we're making millions and billions of dollars, and we'll make space for the families, right? And then because those families are going to want to educate their kids, then we can just hire some teachers to teach the kids of the artists that are working at the artist compound. Then we can figure out how to properly teach the kids in such a way that they're getting a good, solid education, you know, fucking test out a new educational format. You know what I mean? I've always just figured, like, that's the way. You started from the ground up. You make it so that everybody can do what the fuck they need to do. You make it so that everybody has enough money to create.
Sounds like David Koresh. Sounds like Waco. I'm just kidding.
but like, see, and that's the other thing too, man. Like, we were talking about this last week. Like, every time a compound or a group or a cult is started, it turns into pedophilia. And like, you know, some real, I don't understand why it has to go crazy. You know what I mean? Or like why it has to turn into like, you know, gun wielding and like war and battle. Like, I don't understand why it has to do any of that. Like, if we're just artists, we just get to create. Then we get paid for the shit that we create. Like, that's what artists do. That's what Will Smith does. You know, he gets paid to literally be Will Smith and create whatever the fuck he wants. And he's going to get paid for it. So, as an artist, you know, as us being artists, like, if we make music, nigga, every song that we drop, we put that shit out, it's going to make $1 million. And we have that as a song. We can perform that. Mm-hmm. So, that's our song forever and ever. Amen. You know, we get to perform that shit. It's our song. Now, we're making money off of that forever. Mm-hmm. And so, while we're making money off of that, we know that we can make another song that makes that much money, if not more. So then we'll make more songs. So now we have more money coming in. Then the money is sustaining our ability to create. So we literally don't need to create, but the money is giving us time to create. So then we just get to keep creating and putting that out and making more money and building I'm like, I don't understand why this system just doesn't just fucking function. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit just sounds like.
Well, it because it's built around, you know.
I mean, everybody has to be dedicated to doing their.
It's built around people. You know what I mean? And like, the issue is with you and I, like, we can come to some type of common ground on what we want all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh man, you know, I wanted a whole bunch of money. Oh, I want, you know, to be a famous artist. Or I want this, I want that, you know. And we may not want all those things all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I want to just be the best actor that I can be. I'm not thinking about no money, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But I know even then I can come to you and rely on you to help me with that. Like, oh yeah, man, me too. Okay, well, let's, you know. But when you're dealing with people and you start adding more and more people, for instance, if we got your wife involved, right, she will have her own set of things. We get this person involved, they have their own set of things. And before you know it, 10 people down the line, we got a bad apple. We got a bad apple, right? We got a bad apple who's just attached because whatever, some bad reason. And that continues across county lines and state lines, and just people are constantly the cause of other people's issues. It's that ripple effect where we all want to be good, but there's a person who made it. I hate to say it, but we're imperfect. We're just imperfect.
I feel that. I just don't understand like why it. I mean, I understand. I understand completely. So, I think that
Ace solved most of the world's problems. He has. I think. I mean, I'm not gonna get into it, but
I want to know, son, what you mean.
You haven't you solved most of the world's problems?
Yeah, I have. I haven't gotten to implement my ideas yet. And then, so that's what I'm building. I'm building up an empire of platform. Not even an empire. The platform, the foundation for an empire that will be able to facilitate all of the monumental change that I expect to make with these ideas.
My bad. I'm not even trying to laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to laugh at it. So okay, okay, that's what's up.
But okay, so my thing about the educational system is like, okay, we like, I guess because I've been watching so much, I've just been consuming so much information and so many stories. Like I've been getting really interested in stories because I've been diving deeper into the Bible every weekend. I've started committing to dissecting religion, which I'm literally taking a chapter of the Bible every week for however long it takes. It's gonna take me like 11 it's gonna take me a long time. So,
but it's going well.
It's going well. Once that is as I'm doing that, I'm really getting invested in the story because I think that the Bible is like the story of all humanity, right? Like it's the greatest stories ever told about people. And so these so in the story, what I'm interested in is why people end up in hell. You know what I'm saying? Why do people end up and their lives suck or like their lives go to shit or things go wrong? Like anytime I watch a movie, I'm like, damn, this thing, something always goes wrong. You're watching the story, everything is sunshine and rainbows in the beginning, and then everything goes wrong. There's an inciting incident. Now the movie started and we get to start the story. I'm like, if only they could just not do that thing and then they could live in paradise for the rest of, and so I'm always looking for where did it go wrong in the first place? I'm always really hyper aware of where things went wrong. Because that's the problem that needs to be solved so that we can fix it. And so now when I look at these stories, I'm just like, man, like it's just because we're fucking up our kids. Like, and it seems so obvious when people talk. Like when you talk, if you get mad at somebody, you slap somebody, whatever, and then you end up going to therapy and talking about it. What are you gonna tell them?
It's like watch your parents.
Some shit that happened to you that doesn't have nothing to do with the person that you slapped. That's just apparent. We always talk about it. We always resort back to that. My kid, as a kid, and I was treated this way, and I didn't know I was an adult at this time, and I was still learning, and I was still new. We always talk about that green phase when we were still naive. We were naive to the world, and somebody took advantage of us, or we learned too early, or we didn't know, and things were spun in a different direction. So if we as human beings, as a race of people, not a black people, like people, we're humans. If we know that the reason why our own personal lives is fucked up is because of our childhood, why are we not fighting tooth and nail to make sure that the educational system is the first thing that is taken care of?
It's the same reason that it's adults want to deal with themselves, and it's like we care about our kids, but we want to drop our kids off and go do that adult. We want to, whether it's at school, whether it's, babysitter, we want to drop them off. And even when we're home with them, we're thinking about doing our thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't got no kids though, so like a part
But
of
you know what, bro? Something that you just said like really remind me of an orgasmic epiphany that I had a couple of weeks ago. It was crazy, man. Like, so I've had a couple of epiphanies in my life where I just start fucking bawling, like, because I understand something that I've been trying to articulate my entire life. But this time I understood the entire biblical story. Like, I understood what God sacrificing his son means, right? So when you read a story, the way that you win the story is by acting like the character in the story. Then you learn the lessons that character learned, right? So if you play this character, if you play the role of Adam, then you'll learn the lessons that Adam learned. And you act like that in your life, then you'll end up how Adam acts, faced with the same circumstances, right? You'll end up as Adam ends up. If you do the same thing, as you can do that even with God in the Bible, because God is a character as well in the Bible. So in the whole story, God is consciousness, right? So God is your future manifesting itself. God is this future human trying to manifest the perfect human, right? And the lesson at the end of the whole story is to be like God, right? So you got to be like God and do what God does. And so God brings his son, right? He brings his son to the world so you can know, you have an example of what to be like. And then what does God do to his son? Kills him. He sacrifices him. Why?
I don't know.
God is consciousness. Why would you sacrifice your own son?
I don't know. What do you got?
You sacrifice your own son for your own future.
Sacrifice your son
for your own future, because God is your future.
Yeah.
Right? So God is your future manifesting itself. You sacrifice your future. You sacrifice your son for your God. Right?
Yeah.
That's why God tells Abraham to kill Isaac, because he wants to know, how committed are you to me?
Yes.
Your future. Right? And then God said, because Abraham commits to it, he's committed. He goes all the way up there, takes his son, and is about to slaughter him. But because he's so committed, then God stops him. Because it's like, no, you don't have to do that. But I just want to know, how committed are you to me that you will do everything that I say? You got to listen to me. I'm the boss. Your future is the boss. And if you want to be the boss, then you have to act like God, because we already ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We already decided we wanted to be like gods. So now we're gods, right? God's saying, I see you want to be me. Well, it costs to be the boss. I ain't get it for free. You know what I mean? That's the message, right? So if you want to be like God, if you truly want to win, you follow in Jesus' footsteps. Jesus sacrificed his own son to be Jesus. Jesus couldn't have been Jesus with a son. So he sacrificed his own offspring. He did not have offspring so that he could be God. So if you want to read the Bible and win the game like God and be like God, then you have to sacrifice your son. Then once you win, once you become king, then you get a queen, right? Because you're Adam, you're successfully Adam. You've acted good. You've won the game. Adam was good. He won the game. He did everything he was supposed to. He was king of the Garden of Eden. And then he was lonely. Then God grants him a queen. And then once you have your queen, then you can multiply and free the earth and have your son. But if you get lost in the sauce too early because you want to have sex and then you're having kids and you get lost in that, where you start having children, then you lose the game, because what happens is exactly what you're saying. I want to go off and adult, but I have to think about my child. When you have a kid, you don't get to think about yourself anymore. Your dreams are put on hold. When you have a child, your dreams are put on hold, and now you have to think about the child. That's it. The child's dreams come first. And so your dreams, literally your offspring, your consciousness, your future, you've created another future because your kid is a clone of you. So that's going to grow up and look just like you and have your same things. And the things that you didn't get to figure out because the things you were mad at your dad about for not figuring out, he didn't figure out this shit. You're not going to figure that out with your kid because you're busy doing off your shit. So you got to win the game first, become king, right? Know your shit, get your life together, be worthy of a queen. Then you get your queen. Then you guys team up and then multiply and subdue the earth. You know what I'm saying? And I understood the story, bro. Like when I understood, I was like, holy shit. Because it's like, why would God sacrifice his son? Why the fuck? Why would he do that? But he had to. Because that's the best story, bro. Like think about how much impact that story has had, right? There's this guy. He doesn't know he's God. Jesus doesn't know he's God. He's a good guy. That's it. He's just living life. And then he understands everything. He's like, boom, I get it. I get what we're all here doing. I get it. And I know how we're supposed to be. Like, despite the fact that everybody's dying and there's death and disease, we have to love each other and be peaceful and be, the fruits of the spirit. Like, that's the way to be. That's that way to live. And he tries to tell everybody. And he's like, this is the first guy that's woken up and knows like he is a God. This is the first guy. That's what Jesus represents. You know what I'm saying? He understands he's God. Oh shit, like I need to be a good person. I need to spread that to the rest of the world. And that's my message. And God, God, thank God he's giving me this message. God, and Jesus has plans to be a king. All of his disciples, he's planning on giving them different parts of land because he's planning on being king. That's why he's not married. It's not because he's gay. It's because he's not worthy of a queen yet. So he's, still working and then he gets fucking betrayed and he's sitting on this cross and he's had this whole fucking premonition like, motherfucker, I'm supposed to be God and I'm up here on a cross, yo. My own father has forsaken me. Why the fuck am I here? That's what that's about, because he doesn't understand. Jesus doesn't understand because he's still the son. He hasn't transcended into being God yet. So he doesn't know what consciousness knows. But consciousness told him to do everything he's doing. And he's been following it up until this point, He's been doing it like, God, you told me to do this. You told me to wait for these people and cure these people and travel to, these lands and have these disciples. I've been your faithful servant, God. And now everything I've told you've told me to do has led me to this fucking cross. And God's like, yeah, that was part of the plan the whole time. And you're the only person that's going to have to do it. It's going to be you. And you're going to be an example for the rest of the world. And that way, everybody in the world has an example of how to actually be a good human. Because there had to be somebody that woke up to all of this, right? There had to be somebody. Whether or not you believe that Jesus was God or he was actually, there had to be somebody that was hip to like all of it. Like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what we should be doing on this earth right here. And I understand the message. I understand whatever universe we always talk about, even atheists, like, oh, I believe there's a higher power. I believe there's something bigger. But like,
it's an alien.
It's an alien. It's something else. But like, not like that thing has to communicate with us somehow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there has to be at least one person that if there is that higher power, it's communicated in totality. And so that's what Jesus was to me, in my opinion. When I read the stories, I'm like, oh, Jesus was just the first guy hip to the whole story, to the whole game. Like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be about. And I'm going to fucking reign over this land because that's how you win. Heaven, the Garden of Eden comes back on earth. That's the prophecy. And you can only do that if you're a righteous king. Because then you're at the top. You're conscious. That means you're connected to God. That's why the kings were connected to God. The kings talk to God because kings are conscious. The only way you can talk to God is if you're conscious, is if you're speaking with your consciousness, if you're acting consciously, making conscious decisions. You don't deserve to be the king if you're an animal, if you're an ape, if you're a groundling, if you are a peasant, right? And so people started to think, like, as we're trying to order everything and figure out how to build hierarchies, it's like, oh, the people that are the most aware, that have these qualities, they should be the king, and they should be the ones talking to God that's going to lead us. You know what I mean? So that shit just reminded me of everything, bro. Like talking about sacrificing your son, or not, I mean, you didn't talk about sacrificing your son, but saying, like, you know, you want to go off and do adulting things, right? Like, parents want to be adults. Sometimes parents aren't ready to be parents. Like, when are you really ready to be a parent? Yeah. That's never really clear. But I think that it, first of all, it definitely doesn't start until you have a queen. Right, like, or if you have a king, like, you got to be together and joint on that shit, because that's number one. And because if you, like, you're raising a whole other human, you can't do that on your own.
I know some people who are, boy, and they doing a damn good job.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's possible. It's possible, but that's how that's where it becomes sticky, because it's like, it's possible, but does that mean that that's the standard? That should be the standard, you know?
And then what should the standard be, honestly? And it's like, that's why I asked about the psychology of our educational system, because what is the thinking behind it? Like, what is the best environment for a child to be raised in? And not that I want, like, I don't want a society. I don't want a society where we're forced to do the things that are best for us.
Right.
But I do think that there are some things that we give, that our freedoms, like, harm us in a way. Like, we're free to, we talked about this once about, like, I went to write this movie called Wedlock, where, like, if you got pregnant out of wedlock, if you got pregnant without being married, you had to go to a concentration camp. You remember this?
Yes.
You had to go to a concentration camp. Sticky. But the moral of the story was, who are we to be so free that we can walk away from raising a child? Men can do it, women can do it, anybody can do it. You can just walk away. Yeah. You can just, like, you can't even do that with a marriage.
Right.
If I walked away, she could sue me. And it's a suit. It's a lawsuit. You can call it what you want. It's a lawsuit. Is what it is. You can't sue somebody for walking away from their child, can you?
I mean, you can put them in jail if they, but not if there's another parent.
You can ask for child support.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that what you're referring to? Because I don't think you can just get somebody put in jail for just walking away from their kid.
No.
There's nothing you can do.
No, yeah. Not, but like I'm saying, yeah, one parent. But what I was saying is, you can get them put in jail if they just abandon their child. Like,
right, if
it's just me, like, I'll have a baby here and I just leave that baby.
Yes, you can be put in jail, yes, but you can leave another adult.
Yeah, with a child.
That's that you made and just bounce.
Yeah.
And so, what is the standard? And why is it the standard? And the psychology behind that sort of freedom doesn't make sense to me. And it's little things like that. And I'm American, so I can't say I'm American. So I don't even really know what they doing in other countries. I just know that here I can just be like, man, I'm not feeling this, man. I'm not feeling you. I'm not feeling the baby. I'm not feeling how y'all, I remember, I remember like some of my first like experiences with co-parenting from other people, you know, in other people's lives, my cousins and stuff, and what that was like, and like trying to understand why this wasn't my cousin's dad, but my aunt took his last name, but my cousin's last name didn't change. And then their dad was coming to see them sometimes. But it's just like, what? That was my co-parenting experience. It wasn't in home. It was like, it was my cousins and trying to, you know, figure out that. And it wasn't bad. It just was like, you know, I just think my aunt, I don't even, you know, I wasn't old enough to know why my aunt's first marriage didn't work, you know, whatever. And, you know, I just was like, oh, this is my aunt's, you know, new guy or whatever. But then he had some issues or something, and so she ended up having, you know what I mean? And so then it was like, wow. I just want my, you know, family to be like stable and happy. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that the law should force two people to stay together. I'm saying that like maybe co-parenting should be legal, like a legal matter. Maybe co-parenting should be a legal matter. It's one thing to ask for child support. It's another thing to ask for parenting support, parental support.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. Like, how you raise your children then becomes a personal thing. So, like, you just force the child. You know, how do you regulate that? I guess.
How you regulate what?
How do you regulate parents? Like a parent being in, staying in the life.
They make schedules and stuff, you know. They make schedules and stuff, but you can't. That's what I hear you asking. Is like, how is that even possible to regulate a human mind, a delicate human mind, to a co-parenting way of life? I don't think you should have to. I think we should legally. It should be like, yeah. Wait till wedlock comes out. Wait till wedlock drops. I am now reinvested in
that's
wedlock.
That's funny. But speaking of films, man, we've been actually working on a little pet project that we didn't expect to work on.
A little pet project.
A little pet project that actually I'm kind of starting to fall in love with. We've been working on Blackout.
It's not a little pet project. It's the reason that I'm yawning right now. It's not a little pet project.
Yeah, man. We've been writing. We've been concepting, I guess. What would you call this phase that we're in right now? Outlining.
We're writing. I mean, period.
Writing. Yeah, we're writing. We're writing the story of Blackout, which has to deal with mental health. It has to deal with relationship issues and parenting and depression and guilt, all of that wrapped up into a film. And it's a black film. And recently we realized, I think in the last couple of weeks, we're like, oh shit, and it's going to be starring us. And highlighting our relationship as brothers in this film. And so, I'm excited about that. Things might change, you know what I mean? We at the moment, but the story is really, the concept of the story is really more solid than it's been in a long time. Just some historical facts about this idea. Me and Jeff.
I'm gonna grab some of the drink.
Yeah, go ahead. Jeff and I were actually we came up with this idea it started because we were filming a fight scene in a black box. And as we were filming this fight scene, we thought it was going well, and then we went on. Like we were working super long. It was the first like well shot fight scene that Jeff and I had ever put together. And so, what we like did the fight, and we felt really good about it, and then we edited it together. And then we were like, what if he wakes up and he's like in the real world at the end of the fight? So he fights this guy, and then he's like wakes up and he's in the real world. So then we'd have a reason for like why the fight ended, because we didn't really have a reason for why the fight ended. We just kind of ended it. And then we came up with that concept. We went out, we filmed it. We were like, oh, this is cool. Like, so he's waking up, and the way we ended it was like a cliffhanger sort of situation. And he like walks away, and as he walks away, it's like blackout. The title shows up. And so once I did that, I was like, oh, this is a cool concept. So Jeff and I took this was our junior year of college, the summer of our junior year. And we had taken that idea, and we're like, all right, we're just going to make this shit work and write it. And we're going to film a whole series, like a whole web series based off of this guy who has rage blackouts, And so we started writing it. We came up with the idea. We didn't get back to filming until a year later. So a year later, we brought you on board and filmed another scene. And like you were playing his boss, like you were playing the lead character's boss, and actually the lead character was Jeff at the time. And so it was about this, but like all the other characters that we were casting were black. And then people were asking us, like, what is the meaning of him being black? And, like, he's having these blackouts and then fighting black people. And I was like, oh, I didn't really think about that. I'm just using my friends, And then we tabled the idea, really. Like, we never really came back to it after that, It's like, all right, I guess we'll just leave that alone.
Wait, is this about racism? Oh, no.
No.
Okay. Look at my acting. Look at me. I'm at the theater. I'm not a racist. All right, so y'all made a racist movie.
Squash the idea. It was like, all right, we'll just leave that alone for now. And then in 2018, Jeff was really interested in making films again. And so this was now from 2012 to 2018. Jeff was like, yo, let's make some films. And I'm really interested in doing some film fight choreography. And I think that, yeah. And yeah, we do some film fight choreography. And so we're like, let's bring back blackout. Let's bring back the idea, and let's make the guy black, and let's make it about, about anger issues and anger management and the pains of assimilating into white society and all of that. But then recently, so then we did it. We filmed a short film version of it that we were actually just trying to film a demo. We casted it, put it together, filmed a demo with Chris Piper. Chris Piper is
the lead in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, yo. Random, yo. But he's been killing it, man.
In Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, cast. He was the lead of it, and it really turned out well. Like, it was just a demo. It turned out so well that we were like, let's just turn this into a short film, 7-minute short film, and that's exactly what we did. And so we put it into short film festivals, and we started winning little awards for it, and that was cool. So it's like, okay, so we have something here. And I met a filmmaker, Rock White, who I was in his he shot my first ever feature film that I was in. So I got, some cool beans from just creating with this idea. But then now pandemic happened, we decided to kind of put the idea on hiatus again. And then recently, Jeff and I, you and I talking about making, bringing ideas to fruition. And I was like, oh, let's just do, we should definitely bring Blackout back. And then I just came up with the idea of like, what if it happens in this way and stuff. And then we just kind of been riffing off of each other.
Oh, the good thing about this movie is it's been years in the making, and so y'all have already took all those bumps and been like, oh yeah, this doesn't work and this doesn't work. Because I do feel like in our conversation, I was coming into something that I wanted to be a part of for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but it felt like all my ideas were being, accepted.
Mm-hmm.
It was like when we started to talk, everything that I thought and felt about Blackout was all like, yeah, we should do that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so then it felt like, oh, okay, well my vision already fits into this world.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned horror.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, these are all things that I want to do. I'd already seen the action. I already know that Jeff Colangelo, y'all should look up Jeff Colangelo. Like, he just knows what to do with the human body in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm already super excited about that. And my only mindset was just like, how can we make it look like something that I already love? Because to me, in my mind, it already is something I love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I'm super excited about Blackout because it's me being able to be a super villain and just be super in general. And like you said, we're going to talk about Black families. We're going to talk about mental health. And it's going to be gory and yeah, get ready.
Hush. Is it Hush Culture or Hush? What? Hush Network or that? What do you call that when like people don't? They're not talking about shit. It's like a hush.
I don't know,
culture.
man. I don't operate in that way. I'm looking it up now. I'm like, hush culture. What is it?
Like hush.
Hush culture. Oh shoot. Okay. Definition of. Is it hush hush baby?
Oh, I don't think that's it.
Oh wait, need to come out of hush hush culture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a thing. The hush culture. What? What are we talking about?
Hush hush.
It's
Secret
not
confidential.
secret confidential. No, but this
Oh,
is
that's the definition of hush hush. But yeah, hush. So secret confidential, like hush hush, is like keeping things. We don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Big problems that are happening for big public figures. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep shit quiet.
Yeah.
So we get to talk about all of that.
Of
yeah, I'm trying to like avoid revealing the plot of the movie because I already said something. I'm like, I don't know. If
that's good. That's good. Glad you stopped me because that's. So be excited. Be excited that people from Dallas are making something dope.
But I do want to talk about how you were saying this is this is the first time in a while that you've been excited about your own projects, like your own stuff. So like I do want to. I'm interested in talking about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been talking about it for a while, so I think like for you being in Dallas probably was like, man, I want to do big work and I'm doing work and I want to just like but then like before that there was you wanting to create stuff, you know what I mean? And so like I know that same feeling, and so like it's the excitement of like I could be in a project or I could make a project and see it through to fruition. One of those sounds really scary, but it doesn't have to. And it's not that you're not excited about making something. It's about, you talk about cutting down the dragon. You know what I mean? And like, I really think that is what needs to be said. That's what I said. All that to say that, like, that's what really needs to be said. It's like cutting down the dragon. Because people are in the pandemic now. They're sitting around. They still ain't wrote that script. You know, they still ain't read that book. You know, they still ain't done it, you know. But then there's people like Kanisha who's like, she's looking for books. I know you want one of these. I got books over here for you to read. You know, she's working on all cylinders. Yeah. And so, like, you and her were those people who are cutting down the dragons. And, you know, I was able to benefit from that with you. You know, you were like, oh, man, let's just cut. We're going to do this and this and this and this. And it makes sense. But it's like, maybe in the process of me being in Hamilton and on Empire at the same time, I wasn't thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? And then the world slowed down. And it's like, yeah, of course I could be working on my own stuff. I could have been working on my own stuff this whole time. Now I'm excited about it because I'm not making it so big anymore. I don't have to go to pay for studio time. But, you know, that's another thing. You know, I keep talking about the pandemic, and I know people probably hate it, but it's like, we all bought equipment for Zoom and blah, blah, blah. I built a whole house studio, you know, mic, everything. You know, we are all doing it. And so now the dragon isn't big anymore because I can get out of my bed and go record, you know. And we just had a session earlier where you were showing me stuff like this, and this. And that's all, these are all things that you want to do. These are, and you know, I don't want to make anybody feel bad though at the same time. It's not about what you haven't done. It's more about what you could do.
It's your potential.
It's your potential. And it's taking that moment to be like, oh, I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean? And so that's what's making me excited, is that I'm waking up every day, you know, working with somebody who's like, let's just do it. You know, let's just do it. Let's do this show. We'll do this show every Monday. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I ain't got my stuff. Like, hey, we about to be live. You know, he's just like, I hadn't even put my shirt on. Like, we're gonna be live in 20 seconds. You know, that's exciting, man. Yeah. That's exciting because it don't matter what comes from it. It's more like tapping in to the potential. Tapping in is more exciting. Yeah, because you know something's gonna come from it. It could be nothing, and it could be everything, but just the fact of tapping it.
But you know what taught me that shit is Color Purple, honestly. Because for a long time, I fucking hated that story. I hate that story. Everything bad happens to her. And she's just like, oh, like, just be fine. Like, you know, God will take care of it. And like, you know, like, that's her mentality. I'm like, really? You've been facing some fucked up shit, yo. Like, God will take care of it. You know, like, things will be fine in the end. Sing about the color purple. Like,
it's not.
Just like,
it's not
like
her
terrible shit happens to her.
I cannot believe you said that. I literally can't believe you reduced Celie down to, oh, God will take care of it.
But I'm not saying that she didn't do anything. What I'm saying is, I hated the story because, like, it's like a Christ story, right? Like, the worst possible things happen to the best possible person. It's like, why Celie? Why you gotta treat her like that? She didn't do anything. She's just trying to figure out life, you know? And so I used to hate it. But I realized that that's, like life is suffering, you know? Life sucks. That is how life is. Life will throw all types of shit at you, but you can't use that as an excuse to be bad. Because as soon as you use that as an excuse to be bad, you're on the bad side.
See, Fatality. That movie is about that. Fatality with that sexy black dude and Hilary Swank. check that out. It's about that. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So like just like you're gonna be on the bad side now. You're aligned with death. You can either be aligned with life and everything good, or you can be aligned with death and everything bad. It's one or the other in life. And so when I see that story, I'm like, oh, like she has so much faith in the future being better. It doesn't matter what today is. It doesn't fucking matter what we're going through today. Tomorrow is going to be everything that we want it to be. That's where everything lives. That we want is tomorrow. So keep working, keep hustling, keep putting in your time, keep putting in the work, and it's gonna come. It's gonna show itself, you know. And that's the way I'm feeling about this. Like even in forming the SiHK Brothers back when I was 16, 17, like coming up with this idea, and like I saw the whole vision, and I feel like for the last 15 years I've been trying to figure out how to properly articulate it so that other people can see it, you know? How do other people see the vision? But even 10 years ago, when I lost the hard drive and when I lost touch with my friends and like the SiHK Brothers and everything like that we were creating, I started to feel like, damn, all of that was kind of for nothing. And I felt guilty of like stringing all these guys along, like, yo, nigga, yo, come to my crib, nigga, we gonna make some shit. And then like the shit don't ever pop off, you know. And then I'm feeling like, damn, I got all these niggas together to do this shit, and nothing ever happened from it. So then when I found the hard drive, and with how happy I've been during this quarantine time, honestly, like how much joy I've found and how much peace I've found, and so much I've been able to discover in myself about life. As I've been discovering this, finding the hard drive and realizing everything wasn't lost, I'm like, oh shit, I have a gold mine. Everything that I created was for this moment. Everything that I did, all the work that I put in, every time I'm inviting this nigga Akron over, you know, like, and we just making music for no reason. Literally, what reason are we making music, nigga? This music didn't go anywhere. It went nowhere. You know, we got that one.
We did some
Right. But I'm saying, like, in the grand scheme of like the time we were putting into it and like all of that's like, man, what were we doing that for? And now it's clear. You know, to live on the other side, to be in the future and to be like, oh, okay, I see it now. I understand the story. I understand what its purpose is for. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I just want, you know, something that you said just made me think, you know, we now are, you know, doing things that we could have done then, but we have so much more to offer and give. I don't know. I'm not saying what I want to say. What I really want to say is we got to be pushing this shit out into the streets, y'all.
Yeah.
So, like, no games about to be played. And I'm excited about doing virtual shows. I'm excited about doing shows in your neighborhood, in your hood. I'm excited about doing shows in LA, in Dallas, in New York,
in Miami,
man. I'm gonna be performing everywhere, doing my music with my homie and his wife. Gonna have like vegan food or something. Like,
bro, you already know it's gonna be stupid.
T-shirts and like the marketing is there, like everything is there. You know, and like us dropping the album is just like step one of so many things, and like.
Yeah, because the album is honestly, bro, out of everything we can do, the album is the easiest thing we can make. Like, I mean, outside of the show, like we got the show going, you know, doing this. This is simple. This is simple. This is something like we can do consistently. But like outside of that, like making music comes so naturally for both of us.
Man, I want this show, man, to like, yeah, we got some work to do, y'all. So We just glad to be. I'm personally just glad to be sharing it with y'all, and I'm also like overwhelmed at like how much work we are. How much work we are doing, literally are doing week by week, day by day, hour by hour. That's why I drink on the show, because I'm off work. All right.
Word. You the boss, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I just let myself off. All right. And I'm abstinent, so I can't even go see no ladies. No ladies.
It's all good, man. That's all in due time, brother. And all in due time.
Yeah, this is the type of homies I have now. This is the type of homies I have now. Like, yeah, don't have sex.
I'm not saying, listen, bro, do whatever you
won't not have sex. What? I bet you won't speak to that girl. Just walk off. What? You know that's not.
Oh shit!
He don't send me girls. He show girls and send me Bible quotes.
Yo.
It's on record now, nigga. Because it's true. It's on record now. The whole world know you be sending Bible quotes. I'm single. She ain't introducing me to nobody. He a photographer. He know mad women.
I be introducing you to all types of chicks, man. I be introducing you to so many people. But see, that's not even the focus right now. I'm trying not to introduce you to anybody at this point because we need to be focused.
Using me.
Focus.
Using me. He want me to sacrifice my son.
So that you can make your millions.
So
then you can
be my queen.
Meet your queen. Exactly.
50. I'm gonna be 50. I'm gonna be Charlie Wilson.
50? You don't gotta be 50, son. You don't have to be. If you want to be, you can proclaim that. And words have power, so be careful with what you say.
Wow.
Yeah,
The question is what you be saying when you ain't around.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been fantastic 7th episode of The Devil's Advocate. I wish I was smoking weed this whole time, but I was too busy talking. So I'm gonna smoke some weed after this, and yeah, we'll just have to let that be the case. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been so real. You're here with the SiHK Brothers, Ace Anderson, Akron Watson. We're here live broadcasting from LA.
Los Angeles, California.
And we will see you next week on The Devil. Peace out, ladies. Also, make sure to check our album. It's coming March 16th. We need them streams.